What's going on? It's your boy Ron, back at it like a bad habit. Ron Review React. Guess what we doing? We're reviewing and reacting. What are we reviewing and reacting? Marvel Eternals. Now, this is the latest, I guess, episode in this long running series of movies called the MCU. This movie is probably one of the most different feeling MCU movies, but yet very familiar feeling. Let me explain. This movie seems different but derivative. It has the DNA of a Marvel film, but the scope and the size of something much bigger. Some fans may take that as a knock on the movie or something to deter them from watching it. Some may enjoy it. For me, I was kind of in between with it. I was like, okay, I see what they're doing, but I don't know if I'm really along for this ride. The movie is predominantly exposition. It's them talking about stuff, trying to explain stuff, trying to narrate stuff, and it is dense. They lay it on quick and thick. They don't give you too much time to really think and breathe about stuff. They kind of move on to the next thing, move on to the next thing, move on to the next thing. Some people are going to be with that. Some people are going to feel a little lost. The movie has a long runtime. It's two hour, 20 minutes plus. So you're going to be there for the long haul. And within this long runtime, which is kind of average nowadays, you're introduced to some 8 characters. So it's very character heavy, meaning there's just a lot of people in this movie. And to be completely honest, I can't name all of them. I could probably name 3 of the 8. There might even be 9. But there's a lot of them. And the majority of them, you're going to remember them more for their characteristics, kind of, than anything else, because it's not like there's real deep character development with pretty much any of them. There might be 1 or 2 characters that have a little bit deeper development, but these characters are relatively wooden for the majority of the movie. There's maybe one of the best characters in this movie is an assistant of another one of the heroes. If that gives you any kind of gauge to the interest in these characters. They're pretty bland, I'm going to be honest with you. The movie overall is kind of bland. It's weird because there's action set pieces, but I feel like they're just in there as a break from all the exposition, because it's literally action set piece, exposition, exposition, action set piece, exposition, 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 flashback, exposition, exposition, action set piece, exposition. Like, it's a lot. It is a lot. It is a lot. The movie kind of, I don't want to say it drags on, because it moves at a pace pretty well for it, while still dropping tons and tons of exposition on you. The heroes, kind of bland, kind of wooden. It's towards the end of the movie, you find it kind of hard to cheer for the heroes because of kind of their origin and backstory. You're kind of just like, I don't really like too much of any of these characters. Like, to the point to where if they all died at the end of the movie, you would have been like, all right, at least they did something kind of worthwhile. Cool. The villain, plural. Generic, bland, not much backstory, not much depth. If you're spoiled or used to the Thanoses or the Killmongers, or what's another good one that has a little bit of depth to him? People say Loki, but Loki's pretty much, to me, a one-trick pony. He's the same deceivingest, backstabbingest person that he's always been. And that's just kind of who he is. He just has different iterations of it. But a lot of people say he has a lot of depth, so let's throw him in there too. If you are looking for that kind of depth within your villains, this ain't the movie for it. Villain A is just there as a distraction until villain B shows up. So take with it what you will. I wasn't bored during this movie, but there were slow parts. And I feel a lot of that is because the characters just honestly aren't very likable outside of maybe two characters, which the ones that are likable, ironically, aren't in the movie very much, surprisingly. This movie, if I'm gonna be honest, it feels like Marvel's attempt at a Zack Snyder movie. It feels like they want to be deep. They want to stand and represent something, be allegories for things. They want to be deeper than the regular, normal, run-of-the-mill comic book. It wants to be shot kind of like that. Like, there are some pretty good visuals in this movie. Outside of some of the CG is kind of wonky to where it's like, ew, that looks terrible. But outside of that, the visuals are pretty cool. The effects on the characters that are using their superpowers are pretty cool, but it gives you the illusion of, Zack Snyder's Justice League did this kind of better. This whole team up thing did it kind of better and made me actually care for the characters a lot more. I really feel like that's one of the flaws of this movie. The characters are just kind of there going through the motions. It's similar to Venom, I'm going to say, whereas the best part of the movie is the credits and the mid-credit scene and the after-credit scene. It's probably the best part because that's what really kind of ties it in to the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Like, this movie kind of almost stands outside of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, outside from a couple name drops here and there to kind of be like, hey, remember, it's part of this. Don't forget. But all in all, if I was going to grade this movie, it would probably be average, 5 out of 10. It feels like exposition of the movie and just kind of like a filler episode in a season of a show that you might like. So 5 out of 10, right there at the average range for me. Would I go see this again? If it was playing in the background, maybe I'll glance over at it. Maybe. There's a good chance I'll probably never see this again. The credit scene at the end, if you're a super big fan of that, there's some deep cut stuff in there. I have to even go at the end of it online to kind of look up to be like, what does this mean? What does that mean? What does this mean? So you'll probably like that. There's some deep cut stuff. But all in all, Eternals, 5 out of 10. Kind of bland. Seems a little unnecessary, but I guess decent. But, hey, this has been another one. Ron Review React. Like, click, subscribe, share. Holla!